It can be daunting to take on a creative project. In the world of filmmaking, there are so many things to think about, and I think a lot of times we overthink things. I've been working on a long-term doc project this whole year. It's been super fulfilling, really exciting. I'm super psyched about the story, but recently it's slowed down and I've been busy with other projects. So I've been itchy to make and release my own passion project, but I didn't want to get stuck in the trap of working on something for too long and then not knowing when I was going to be able to finish it. So I looked for a story that I could finish in a very short timeline, shoot in one day, edit within a week. And that's how the Luthier Legacy was born. The word of the day is simplicity, and I want to break down how I apply that to 3 different stages of the filmmaking process in this short film. First, storytelling. If you want to make something on a short timeline, make sure you pick a story that fits that scope. So I would suggest picking a topic that you're interested in, maybe that you know a little bit about, and that will help to speed up a lot of the pre-production process for you. In this case, I didn't have to do too much research because I've played the violin for most of my life. I know the basic parts of a violin. I have a vague sense of what a luthier does. So that helped me cut back on the amount of research I would usually do in the pre-production process. So to further concentrate my story and set myself up for success before shooting a single frame, I did a pre-production meeting with Rich where I went to his studio, scoped it out, and had a conversation with him. And that meeting helped me refine my story idea so much. In the space, I got a sense of what was feasible, what was interesting about it, what kind of decorations he had up. And in our conversation, I got to learn a little bit about what Rich loves about what he does. So I spent the next week just thinking about what should the angle of my story be. I started to draft some interview questions and put together a rough story arc. And that meant that when it was time to shoot, I went into the shoot focused on my story. I wasn't worried about getting stuff that wasn't going to help me tell that story. Okay, so the next simple aspect I want to talk about is a little bit more technical, and that's the lighting. I recently bought more lighting gear and I was excited to try it out. So at first when I was planning the interview setup, I had a very complicated idea of how I would light things. But that kind of started to break down as soon as I walked into Rich's studio. This was a very tight space. Not only that, but there were delicate objects all over the place. So I knew that bringing in a bunch of stands, lights, heavy grip stuff just probably wasn't going to be safe or efficient. It pained me to not use more of my gear, but in the end, I decided, let's just keep it simple. So I only used 2 lights. I key lighted with a softbox, backlit with a tube light, and used the window as a motivating source. And I think it came together. For the B-roll sequence, I just pivoted the key light around and bounced it off the wall. Then that light became my fill, and the window became the key. And of course, I also used Rich's desk light as a practical source. I think the shots came out looking pretty nice, and I'm especially happy with how the interview looks. And it just goes to show, you don't have to use all your gear all the time. All right, third, let's talk about the music. I usually overthink music so much. I use a subscription-based service and I spend hours just scrolling looking for the perfect music track. And especially for this project, where it's about a musical instrument, I knew the music was going to be key. But early on, I did have a few ideas for some violin pieces I would like to use in the video. The problem with sourcing music is that you can't always get the rights to it. So I spent a while trying to think around how I was going to be able to use the songs I wanted to. And then I realized there's a ton of great copyright-free tracks online. The Free Music Archive came in clutch on this project. They had the pieces I wanted to use copyright-free because they're old recordings. In some projects that would be a problem, right? You get a lot of noise artifacts, it doesn't sound super crisp, but in this one it worked out. See, Rich is talking about family history. So in the section where he's talking about Otis, back in the 1800s, I used a very, very old recording, one of the oldest ones I could find. And then when he's talking about later generations, I used the same song, but a newer recording. The little crackling and record scratching, that just adds to the atmosphere of this project. So it worked out. Now, could I have spent hours and hours going through my paid subscription library to find something close enough? Sure, but we're working on a shortened timeline here. And in the end, I'm just psyched that I got to use the music I wanted to. I'm super happy with how this project came out, and I'm especially proud that I didn't overthink it. It's really important for me to keep my creative momentum going, and it's projects like these that let me do that. That film I've been working on all year, it'll come out someday. But in the meantime, I hope to make more short pieces like this that help me get reps in and keep me going creatively. So go check out the Luthier Legacy if you haven't seen it yet. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.